Today's NDE afterlife experience is from Dave. Dave had issues with depression, abuse, and addiction. That is, until a near-death experience showed him the true reason we are all here. Listen to Dave's incredible NDE as he visits the afterlife and shares with us all he was shown. Welcome to Near Death Tales. If this is your first time checking this channel out, I'm glad to have you here. My name is Joseph, and I will be narrating the near-death experiences of those who have died and have seen the other side. Today's experience comes from Dave. Here it is. Hi, my name is Dave, and this is my story. It started with me though, with addiction. So I guess I'll pull back to where I had a lot of things happen as a child, as far as abuse, trauma, and different types of abuses. I think that's why I went down the drug route, because it helped me to numb any sort of pain that I was feeling. It made me feel like I could live normally with all the abuse. I know that drugs for me were a way to cope, but it got worse and worse. With that, becoming a drug addict, life became worse, and things just compounded. It got to a point when I was 20 years old, where I decided that I no longer wanted to be here, because what was the point of another day of just suffering? Every day felt like just another day of hell. A year prior, my brother died, and I know that was really the starting point of what kicked it off for me. That put the fuel on the fire of my pain. About 1 year after that, I decided to end my life. I did this with pills and was really sure that I was going to die. I just was not expecting to have a near-death experience. When I took the pills, everything just kind of went dark on me. It was like just darkness fading in on me. I can't really describe it, but it felt like you were dialing down the light until it just started to get darker and darker until it was completely black. It dimmed until it was black, and I know it was about 15 minutes or so. Where I lost completely, I have no clue what happened in that time. But then, all of a sudden, light started to come in, and that's when I was hovering above my body in an ambulance. I was still within the ambulance, but I was more near the roof of the ambulance. There were paramedics over me, and they were talking. There was a lot of stuff going on. I was looking down at my body, and I remember it vividly. I knew I was dead, but it was so automatic how alive I felt. It was really shocking for me. Yes, I'm dead, but I'm alive, and I'm more alive than I was when I was alive. I knew that being dead was actually where we are truly alive. You know, that seems weird or whatever, but that's what it felt like. Slowly, I began to see things that were kind of foggy, and time and space didn't really work the way they did when I was alive. I think the first thing I really went through was almost like a review. I guess we say we get a review. It wasn't like a review where you're watching something, although it kind of was. I was more like feeling what I was watching than actually watching it. I noticed that all things exist in one moment, and that we are just perceptions of that one moment. It was clear that this life has a purpose of growth. All the lessons and experiences we go through have meaning, and they are for growth. Ultimately, though, the meaning of life is not necessarily about life's meaning, but rather the meaning we put on our own experiences. Then, everything started to kind of flash regarding my experiences, specific events or people. I felt the pain of people I had hurt and the anger they felt towards me, but I also felt the love and care from those I had affected in positive ways. I felt everything around me as if it was all me, but it was all very separate. At the same time, once again, time and space seemed very unified at one point. Yet, I was seeing past lives but also future events as well, so everything felt kind of connected. After having this review of what I did or didn't do, and realizing that life is a series of challenges, I noticed right away that we have different bodies. We're not just a physical body, we're obviously an energetic body. I realized that I am the energetic body, which is the real me, while the physical body is just a vessel that I use to experience this reality. It's just for a time frame. It's not forever. It's just a blip of an experience that we go through. Then I became aware of an emotional body. That body felt like a blanket. It either carries a lot of weight or not. It's very electrical as well. We also have a mental body, where all our beliefs, definitions of things, thought processes, and traumas live. To me, the mental body has a separate energetic form. It became very clear that we're not just one body. We are multiple bodies that all come together at once. To truly grow, we have to work on each body to affect the others, so everything aligns. We need to work on these bodies to lighten the load. After this realization, my brother, who had passed away a year prior, appeared to me. He came in from the side and approached me. It was just like him. Nothing had changed except that he was healthy, happy, and vibrant. He reminded me of himself when he was young, before he started using drugs. He was his bubbly self, making light of the situation. From there, my brother wanted me to follow him. He led me to this giant room, which was a big circular white room, bright as could be. I waited there, and then I was introduced to 3 beings. These beings seemed to come from different time eras as well. The whole message from these beings, who are like spirit guides or whatever you want to call them, what I think of as spirit guides, was that I'm not done. There's a certain job for me. There was a reason why I came. It's not just to hang out and have a life and get through. I have a job, a purpose, something bigger than what I would have thought. It was obvious that I needed to go back, and it was surprisingly easy to make the decision to do so, even though when I returned it was horrible. From there, the bright room started to light up and became like a holographic projection surrounding me. I got to see my future. When people talk about the future of Earth, I would say it's my future Earth, if you will. I saw where I would live, what I'd be doing, and how fresh the air was. Everything seemed different. The world had definitely changed in a big way. The world I saw just couldn't exist without going through a radical transformation. I have a strong belief that we are heading towards some great change. Whatever that looks like, I don't know, but I guess we'll all have to ride that together. From there, it was more or less like, you're going to go back now. So I decided to go back. I came back, and this is when it got a little crazy. I found myself in a hospital bed and it was all bright, but it felt horrible. All the pain in my body, in my mind, and all the pain I had left came rushing back. I experienced a real contrast between the pain and the lack of pain. Everything was bright, but the doctor's voice was so loud. I remember feeling really messed up about it. Everything hurt me. From that point on, I knew that I had to change my life. I was given the tools and the understanding of the nature of reality in order to do it. Being outside of my life gave me an amazing perspective on life, seeing it as more like a game that we choose to play in order to win, facing challenges and fears. We're here to develop and grow, to become better people, to treat others better, not just people, but all life, animals, plants, and the earth itself. Our growth equals a change in our soul. Our soul comes into this life with a specific signature, and the goal is to leave this life with that signature slightly altered in a positive way. We achieve that change through struggle, resistance, hardship, and experience. Not just negative experiences, but also through positivity and happiness. Experience itself is what grows us, as long as we learn from it. Negative lessons are about learning, and we achieve the signature change by actually learning from those lessons instead of becoming victims. We choose these lessons to grow, and by overcoming them, we become victors, if you will. When I came back, though, for 12 years, it was just work. A lot of work. It was brutal. Coming back to this horrible life again was overwhelming. Yes, I had the knowledge, and I'm glad I had it because it showed me what to do, but I still had to suffer. I still had to go through the emotions of grief, shame, and the process of overcoming addiction of all kinds. I had to heal from trauma, PTSD, and so many other things. It was horrible. I also ended up homeless. I lost everything, including my dog, my house, my girlfriend, just everything. It was a lot of stuff to deal with. After everything, I thought life would be great because I had all this knowledge, but it wasn't. The truth is that putting the knowledge into practice is what actually saved me from the way I was. But I needed that. I needed that lesson. I needed all of that to happen because it was the most important thing. When you understand your life from a soul level, everything becomes different. You start looking at the world from a perspective that you don't normally see. Instead of just looking at life through the lens of your job, your family, your friends, and everything else, it just kind of dilutes from there. But when we start pulling it back to the soul and understanding why we're here, looking at those bigger perspectives, then life becomes a series of events that make sense. It is pretty interesting stuff.